Story time.
I love stories. Let's go. What are we talking about
Okay,
today?
so I actually just had a listing appointment this morning with a client who bought a new construction home 2 years ago, and now she's being transferred out of state for
Ooh,
work.
I know where that's going.
Okay, and so the builder, not just one builder, there's three builders still building in that community. What do you think? How do you think those numbers looked?
Well, from my experience, I've built numerous homes with builders in different communities. I don't think they look good. Just from the fact that you said there's multiple builders that are still building that probably offering crazy rate, crazy amount of incentives just to sell because they have 500 homes going.
Yep. So, uh, not talking about even pre-construction, not talking if you're going in and actually building a house. On the market within a mile of that home, there's 36 active listings that are new construction spec homes. Okay.
And that's a lot.
That's a lot. Okay. And so I think in the last 6 months, from the solds, 98% of the sold properties are new construction. Okay. So that, what does that tell me?
You're as a seller not competing because you really can't compete with builder. They have a massive production. They have their numbers figured out. They can lower the price or give incentive anywhere from 20,000 to 100,000. I've seen it in my neighborhood.
So some of the concessions out there right now, right? So a builder can offer $20,000 towards a buy down of the rate, right? As a homeowner, you can't do that, right? Especially when you bought 2, 3 years ago. Some of you bought at the peak of the market, right? So those people are really upside down. And yeah, she was not excited about the numbers. I had to tell her this morning.
But it has to happen, right?
Correct. So again, when you get transferred for work or you have an emergency or whatever happens, right? Life happens. And that's why I always tell people new construction works in certain scenarios. It's not bad across the board, but you need to know when to buy in that community. You don't want to be the buyer that bought when that community is first starting and there's 1,000 homes being built there, right? Because if you have to sell within 2 to 3 years and they're only halfway through building.
Well, that's actually happened in my community. I probably should have listened to you and go with
She should have listened to me.
and go with the resale. Just look at the bones. But I figured I wanted certain amenities. I wanted certain location. Didn't do enough research. I don't know why I jumped into that. I bought, so there's phases when they build, there's phases. So the phase one was complete, which was roughly 80 homes. It's not a big community back then. So phase two just started to break down, and that's when we came in and put an offer and start building and choosing the lot and all that. As exciting as that was, by the time we were done and moved in, phase three started. Besides that, there's probably about four new builders around the area. So what's going to happen during that time? What happened? Phase one and phase two, we started seeing builder offering 70,000 off, appliances included,
Basement finishes.
basement finishes, you name it. And us who bought it at the peak, not getting none of that really. I got $3,000 incentive because I was a repeat client to the builder. So we were like, oh my God, what's going to happen to our values? And I mean, you can
Well, the
only take a
values.
guess.
So here's the thing, right? And I told you this when we were looking. The value, because you just have to commit that you're staying there longer than Olga likes to stay in the property.
Yeah, so instead of 2 to 3 years, I have to stay
Five
there
to seven. It's
five
going to
to
be a
seven,
5 to 7 year home, which is
which is
fine.
which is fine. I committed to that. I am, I'm kind of settling in. I'm doing a little reno finally. So it's okay, but you have to be content with that, and you have to understand if I'm doing the new construction, you can't divorce, you can't move, you can't be transferred, and if you do get to that step, you're gonna take the loss.
So another,
possibly.
yeah, and again, for me, okay, just because we've been through many new constructions for clients and everything else. I think a lot of people have this misconception, right? That I'm buying a new home and I don't have to worry about anything in the house. Everything is covered, it's under warranty. I'm moving in, and Olga knows this because I've preached and preached and preached, but some listen, some don't. But with a new construction home, in that first year, you are gonna have more problems than you will in a resale home that is 20 years old.
And that
Okay.
is true. Isn't it true that resale home, it's the best time to buy when the home is 7 to 10 years because everything is done and replaced?
I don't necessarily say that. Like, if you want, some people just like newer homes, right? So like, cars, for example. When I buy a car, she knows this. It's got to have no more than 7 or 8 thousand miles on it, right? I won't buy them new because I don't like to, take the hickey of driving off the lot. But 7 to 8 thousand miles, like 10 is too much, and five rarely ever happens. So like, it's
So
always
seven
like
is the goal.
7,000 miles is like seems to be what all of my cars have when I buy them, right? So I feel the same way about houses. I would say, if you're like one of those people that's like, I want something new, something, blah blah, buy a house that's 2 to 5 years old. Okay. Why do I say 2 years old? Because in that first 2 years, you're somebody else is dealing with all those warranty things that
They're not fun.
they're not fun, right? So your house is settled. You've got cracks. You've got doors that don't close. You've got cracks in your driveway. Your trees are dying. Your sprinklers, in the front aren't working. I can go on and on, right? There's just things that are gonna happen. There's leaks. There's somebody, the plumber didn't tighten something somewhere,
Something.
right? But
Yeah.
the big things we see, at least in Colorado,
Settling.
settling, right? So that soil is going to settle, and it's usually in that first 2 years is where I mean, I've seen clients, where none of the doors will close within 6 months. 6 months. I mean, like, literally. So the house settled, and now the doors don't close. So then it's all a warranty, uh, which is
And trust me, warranty is not fun. I almost tell every time I build, and the builder goes, "But you have warranty." And my response, warranty is a punishment to a homeowner.
well, that's a whole different video we'll do. That deserves its own video. But um, I think it's just something to think about. And before I let you go, so please, you do not pay for a realtor when you go to a new construction office, okay? So reach out. It's like you have somebody looking out for your interest versus you dealing with the builder on your own. And it doesn't cost you any money. I just had a really good client that unfortunately went to a new construction, and this particular builder requires that you bring your realtor the first time you come to visit the community, which is crazy to me. And and otherwise refuses to pay for the realtor, which is crazy because
Crazy.
they rather bully you without a realtor and have their way with you because you don't know any better, right?
Yep. So without the builder's representative, all those pretty faces in their showrooms, they're really not realtors. They represent the
The
builder.
builder.
They're salespeople. So really, will they go and look into every corner and tell you, this is cracked, this is not properly installed, you have a nail pop all through your ceiling, or your texture is not done correct, or number of things? They will never do that because they do not represent you. They represent the builder. They have no interest in protecting you or making you feel special or point out things. That's not in their interest.
It's like going through a divorce without an attorney.
Don't.
And the other and the other people have an attorney, and you just represent yourself. That's the best way I think I could even reference that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I cannot stress. A lot of people think, I've heard this numerous times, as a lender, they call me for pre-qualification, or I do work with builders who just not create. They have very basic financing, right? A paper W-2, 20% down. They can do it any day with eyes closed. Anything beyond that, it's hard for their lenders. So they do call me. And the conversation I have when they go, well, I don't want to have a realtor because I can get more out of the builder because they don't pay the commission. That is not true.
Not
It's
true.
already figured in the cost of the house. It's already there. Whatever it is that they pay to the realtor, it's already figured out. You're not gaining anything by not having a realtor. Absolutely.
Yeah, and why do you think as a consumer would they want you unrepresented? I mean, just think about it from just a common sense standpoint because it's much easier, right, to deal with you. You don't know any better. You don't, and I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the buyers aren't intelligent. Of course they are. But you just don't know enough. Most of you don't know enough about construction and the way that they work, um, to even for the final walkthroughs, even for the pre-drywall walkthroughs, because you don't know what to look for, right? And so, yeah, of course they want you unrepresented. Of course, I'd rather get divorced than have a lawyer and not the
Yeah.
other side not have one, because I'm gonna get away with so much more stuff, right? So just think about it from that standpoint. And again, no pressure, but if you have questions, call us, and call us before you sign anything. And if you
Or before
go,
I even look, because
yeah, or even if you're going into a new construction center, you have two options. You either register your realtor with them right away, or don't give them your name,
yeah.
right? You're just looking. And
Well, I was gonna like jump into talking about you don't know any better. We all intelligent people. I've built a custom home myself. I know construction. I know the steps. I know everything what goes after and how, but I cannot stress enough that building this last home, how many times have you pointed something out? Because I get excited. It's like, oh my God, my walls are up, my texture is done, my floors and stuff. You get into this buyer mode, even though you know construction. I've missed so many things.
nothing like crawling around looking under your doors at the final walkthrough.
She did.
Anyways, I think this is where we kind of end it, right? You guys can always reach out to us, DM us, call us, whatever you want to do. We're here. We're just source of information, even if you don't end up working with us, right?
Absolutely. We're
Which would
here
be
always.
dumb.